Hello, I am Philip with Twisted Vine Herbs, and this video is about percolation tinctures. I'm going to show you start to finish the process of how to do a percolation tincture, and the parts and the equipment that's needed or used. It could be something as simple as just a bottle with a lid, and then you can get fancy with shut off. So let's get to it. Why would someone want to do a percolation tincture? Maceration tincture, if you know, is where you have your herb, your plant material, you put your alcohol in, let it sit in a jar, and it just sits. You shake it up, 2 to 4 weeks, you have a maceration tincture. A percolation tincture is much quicker and still just as potent medicine. It takes more like 24 to 48 hours to have it done. So that's one of the reasons why I use it quite often. The type of plants you can use, it needs to be dried plant. So anything that you can dry, non-resinous plants, demulcent plants probably work the best. I've done all types, I've done dandelion and vitex and just several different types of plants with it. And so once you have your dried material, then you want to powder it. So we're going to do bone set, and I've powdered it here in my Vitamix. And you do not want it fine, you don't want it fine like flour, because then it can get bound up. You want it like a coarse sand kind of, so that it does not get stopped up. I did ginkgo one time, and it was powdered very, very fine, like super fine, and it was like flour or like cornstarch, and it just gummed up. It wound up taking 2 weeks for all the alcohol to work its way through. So you definitely powder it, not super fine, but you want it powdered. The equipment that you needed is, kitchen equipment, normal kitchen equipment, same as you do with the maceration. The difference is you're going to need a perk cone, which is this with a wine bottle with the top cut off. You can use a glass cutter to do that. This one isn't cut yet, but you can use preferably bottles with no shoulders. They're tapered. One that's with a screw-on lid. That way you can adjust the flow rate. And then if you want to upgrade, you can get a cork, drill a hole in it, and put refrigeration water line for a refrigerator cut off in it to adjust your flow rate. That's usually what I use, but a friend of mine got me this stopper, which works very well, and then the 1/4 inch cut off stopper that will go into the bottle, which will adjust our flow rate. So that's the equipment you need. I like having a jar packer. That way I can level everything out. You'll need cotton balls or coffee filters, but I prefer cotton balls. It's easier. And then you just need your jars and scale, a measuring cup to figure out how much liquid you need, but then also how much you have in your solids, your mark. Once you have your herb correctly identified, you know what it is, you've bought it from a trusted source or harvested it yourself from a trusted source, you need to do 2 things. First of all, you want to weigh it and then figure out what your ratio is. Typically with dried, you would do a 1 to 5, so that would be 1 part plant to 5 parts liquid, which in this case we're going to use 50% 100 proof vodka or 50% vodka. When I harvest my own plants, or I don't have like store-bought plants that I know the weight, I usually do it in grams to milliliters, because it transfers a lot easier as opposed to doing in ounces. So with this, I'm going to weigh it first and see how much we have. So I have 135 grams of plant. So next thing I'm going to do is kind of flatten it out. So next thing, we'll figure out how much alcohol we need. So we will multiply 135 times 5. All right, so we need 675 milliliters of liquid. No. Yeah, that's what we'll need once we start the process. Before we do that, we need to figure out the displacement of the liquid. So what I do is I level out, pretty much try to get this as level as possible in here. And it looks to be right about you can't see it, but it's like right at 400 milliliters. So so typically I use about 2/3 of the displacement of the volume here, to add to this to moisten the herb before we do the actual percolation. So 400, 2/3. We can probably just do, let's see, half would be 200 milliliters. We'll say like 200 and, without a calculator, it'll work. We'll just do 250 for now, and then we'll see how well that. So 250 milliliters. I'm going to add a little bit at a time to this to moisten the herb. Now this is not your 1 to 5. All we're doing here is moistening the herb so that when we add our alcohol, we don't lose any liquid to the dried herb. So we want this to be stirred up nice and see how it turns out. So we're just moistening it right now. That's pretty good. So we did about 250 milliliters, and bring it over here. So it's, we've gotten all the dried powder. It's moistened now. So now we need to measure out our 675 milliliters for the actual tincture. So 500. I'm gonna do 1, and then there is our 175. Okay, so this is going to be, and we should wind up with the same amount of tincture or same amount of liquid as we put into it. So we should wind up when it's all said and done with about 675 milliliters when we're done. All right, so the next step, you want to make sure you have a big enough container to catch it when it's done. Next step is we are going to take some cotton balls and moisten them so we don't lose any of the tincture. And you want to open up your drain right now all the way, because we don't want it to get airlocked, vapor locked. So you want it to flow right now. And then we will just pack the cotton in there till it's just about to the top of the neck. So it's, just about where it starts to open up. And now we're going to add our herb. And I usually do it in thirds or so. Or, whoops, dang it. Oh, that's annoying. So, carefully, don't spill it everywhere. Add about a third, and take your jar packer and level it out. Gently pack it. You don't want it packed tight. You just want it kind of leveled and sort of packed. Just gently, don't overdo it. And then spread it around. Again, level it out, pack it. You're trying to get as many air pockets out of it as possible. But like I said, you don't want to pack it. You just want to gently pack it. And then we will pack it level, kind of level it out. And then here, you can cover it and you can let it sit 12, 24 hours just to sit and macerate for a little while. Usually what I do is I'll get mine ready in the evening. And you can either let it sit like that, or what I usually do is I'll take, you know what, I'm gonna actually use this because it has a pour spout, and I'll get some of that extra, make sure I get all the bones set. I will pour it down the stir so it doesn't make any like holes or divots in the herb. Just pour slow, nice and easy. And you leave this open all the way to let all the air bubbles out. You see it's bubbling up. It's got some bubbles in it. And then usually I would let this sit for several hours. And I usually do it in the evening, and then I let it sit overnight. And then in the morning, I will turn it on and adjust my flow rate. And then usually by the afternoon, it's done. Just see what it does. Now you can see that it's starting to flow through. It's starting to flow through and flowing quickly, which is fine. It's getting the air out of it. So now we would want to shut it off. And then we would let it sit for overnight and then start it up in the morning. All right, so it's the next morning. Not really, but for all intents and purposes, this is it. So once you get it flowing, you want to adjust it back to a good rate. And that's about the rate that I would let it go. And I would let it go until it's done. And the that little bit you got in there, you can always add it back to the top. And then you only miss a drop or two. And then you just let it ride. And this is about 1 hour into it. Well, it's been about 30 hours. I let it go all day today while I was at work. I'm not sure exactly how long it took to finish, but this is the finished product. And that's your tincture. And I will get the camera and zoom in so you can see it closer. And as you can see, we were right about at 600 milliliters. So 675 was our goal. So we were a little shy, but you could just add a little bit more to it, or when moistening next time, just add a little bit more. But I try to err on the side of caution. You can see how dark it is, and so that's bone set, Eupatorium perfoliatum percolation tincture. So if there's any questions or comments, you can reach out to me or at Twisted Vine Herbs, Twisted Vine Herbs on Instagram or Facebook, or comment on the video, or and thank you.